Hey guys, it's Lisa from Turning Pages, and today I'm here to review another book. The book I'm reviewing today is Pretending to Dance by Diane Chamberlain. This is an adult read. I usually don't, I'm getting more and more into reading adult books. I don't really know, I'm still feeling my way around the adult genre, and I don't really know what my favorite kind of book to read is just yet. I read everything YA, but the adult genre is just a whole new world that I have not yet discovered. But I went ahead and I picked up this one because I liked the last 3/4 of her synopsis, and it tells you that basically this main character grew up in kind of a broken home, sort of. She lives with her dad and a stepmom, but her real mom lives in the same neighborhood, all kinds of intense stuff. But now she's older and she wants to adopt her own children, and she kind of has to deal with all her past that she's kind of been, keeping on the back burner and burying. So that's what I really was reading this book for. I wanted to know about her past. I wanted to know what it was like growing up, knowing that your mom isn't your mom and that your mom is actually an ex-lover from your dad who walked to the door one day with you in her arms claiming that you were his. So it was really interesting, and that's why I read it. I'm not going to go too much into the story and the characters and what happens and give you a description or anything, even though I love usually doing that, because I want to give you guys an idea of what goes on in these books, and a lot of the times the synopsis doesn't really do that for you, so it's my job as the book reviewer to give that info to you. But no, this synopsis, if you go to Google, if you go ahead and check out the synopsis, it basically tells you the entire storyline and what happens and what she has to face and what is happening. So I don't really want to talk too much more, because I feel like if I were to give you more information, not only would I be repeating the synopsis, but I would also be giving away too much, because the synopsis basically covers everything. And anything that it doesn't cover is kind of like one of those surprises for you that I just don't want to give away. With all that said, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you why I enjoyed this book towards the end and why not so much towards the beginning. Towards the beginning, it was a little bit boring. I thought I wasn't really sure what I was getting myself into. I was starting to think, well, maybe this isn't what I was expecting it to be about. It's kind of slow. I don't really know. Should I continue reading? I wasn't sure. There was nothing that grasped me and that pulled me in and that kept me wanting to read it. But once I hit a certain page mark, which is about a third of the way through, I started to really enjoy it. You start to read more and more about Molly, the main character's childhood, instead of like her current, which is what I was looking. You get to learn about all of the different dynamics in her family and what was going on, because Molly is a child at that point and you're only seeing it through her perspective, which is really frustrating, but understandable. I do wish, however, that they would have filled her in a little bit more about her father and things like that, because at the point she is 14, 15 years old, and the way she comes across at first is like 8. She comes across as 8 or 9, which was actually really surprising when I found out she was 14. At 14, I was a freshman in high school, and I was starting, like at the very beginning, starting to learn how to drive. So, and I was totally fangirling over Twilight and Channing Tatum and Jacob Black and all these other celebrities that I thought were so good looking and things like that. And she does that in here too, but she just seems really, really childish, and I think the author made her seem a lot younger than she actually was. I mean, I understand that at 14 you don't want your daughter at a house without parental supervision with 2 boys that are each 3 years older than her and her friend. I totally understand that, but I felt like she was so sheltered and had no idea where she was even from, or how she came about, or what the real world kind of entailed. She kind of lived in this really nested area with her entire family and didn't know anything beyond that, which is really surprising. I mean, you learn a lot of things from your friends in school, and you kind of experience things, and they tell you things and things like that, and she just had no kind of real world idea, so that was really frustrating. She seemed a lot younger than she actually was. So like I said, the beginning was a little bit slow. I wasn't interested. The characters just didn't pull me in, nothing like that. Then all of that really snapped and changed instantly. The story kind of got more intense. I felt like what that was Molly was really kind of childish towards the beginning of the book, which led me to believe she was a lot younger than she actually was. And then at one point she wants to start seeing this guy, his name is Chris, who is 3 years older than her. I also mentioned that. And you kind of start seeing her, you know, do what a normal teenager would be doing, kind of breaking rules a little bit, kind of testing her boundaries, things like that. But then when she went home and she kind of faced those consequences, it was kind of straight back to that childlike, you know, thought process. So, but that's where my flip started to switch, because I liked seeing her age and seeing her kind of go against those boundaries that everyone was setting her. So yeah, I enjoyed watching that. I enjoyed seeing that. I mean, everyone has like those rebellious stages when they first, you know, go to high school, or at the end of middle school, or at different points in people's lives, I guess, depending on how you're raised and things like that. So it was interesting to see, and I mean, a lot of people can relate. Besides kind of reacting her history and her family and the issues they have, chapters switch between the past and the future, or the past and the current. And Molly is actually 38 years old, I think, in the current scenes, and she is unable to have a child, so she wants to adopt with her husband Aiden, and they have all their stuff together. They both have good paying jobs, they both graduated college, they have a house, they go on trips, and they do all these fun activities together, and they really want a child, but they are unable to have one, so they want to go into adoption. This is kind of the part of the story where I'm not like really too interested, but of course there were some emotional parts that had me bawling, and it was just fun to read too. It wasn't like, oh my god, I can't wait to see what happens, is she gonna get the baby? I wasn't like that, but it wasn't like horrible either, if that makes sense. It was just like, oh, okay. So overall, I enjoyed Pretending to Dance. Thank goodness, because I had my doubts when I saw this cover. I don't really like too much of the cover because the cover has nothing to do with the story. As some of you already know who have watched some of my book reviews, I do not like covers with just people on them. They don't tell you anything, they don't hint at anything, they have absolutely no purpose. If you look at this cover, you see a red dress. There's no red dress ever mentioned. Like, it wasn't some special red dress her grandma wore. There's no red dress in the story. Then it's like Pretending to Dance. Okay, maybe this girl's dancing. Well, this doesn't look like dancing. She's just kind of holding her arm out. You know what I mean? Like, if she was in the middle and she was doing like a spin and it was kind of blurry, then I would get it. But I don't see it. So that's really frustrating. So I'm happy that the story is better than the cover. If you have not read Pretending to Dance, I would recommend doing so if you're kind of looking for a book to get you into the adult reading. Why? Because it kind of tells you about her teenage years and her younger life and things like that, but then it also switches to her adulthood, which I thought would be a good book for anyone who's first starting out to read adult books like moi. So thank you guys so much for watching. I know that book review wasn't as detailed as I would normally have liked it to be. Of course, I want to tell you guys everything, and of course, I don't want to be the person to spoil the story for you. I hope you guys kind of understood where I was coming from and what I meant by the things that I was saying, even if you didn't read the book. I hope it all made sense. Alright, so as always, my written review will be linked down below, along with my social media and a few other things. So if you want to go ahead and check that out, you can, and I will see you guys in the next video.